This is Monday and it's May 11th and we finally made it to the last day of videos. So all we've got left is the final. You'll have 7 days in which to do the final. That should be, only need about 2 or 3. So here we finish up now on 15, and this is the stuff we just did recently on chapter 13 and 14. So 15 is find each probability if balls are randomly drawn from a container with 6 red, 4 blue, and 2 white balls. So, drawing a red or a white ball in a single draw, remember red or white, those would be mutually exclusive. So 6 over 12 for the red plus 2 over 12 for the white would add to 8 over 12. Simplifying, dividing by 4 over 4 is 2/3 or 66.7%. Now drawing a red followed by a white without replacement, so I know the specific order, so red first then white second, is 6 over 12 times 2 over 11, because I have one less ball that I didn't put back in. So that comes out to 0.091 or 9.1%. Now here we have to watch the wording, probability of drawing a red and a white with replacement. Now they don't tell us the order, so we have to count for both. The probability that the red was picked first and then the white second, plus probability that the white was picked first and then the red second. And notice how these will give us the same answers, but it's just that we have to account for both of them, so it's really twice the first answer. So it's 6 over 12 times 2 over 12 plus 2 over 12 times 6 over 12, or 12 plus 12 over 144, because it's the same twice, or 24 over 144, which comes out to 0.167 or 16.7%. Now next is 16, determine the probability of getting at least 2 6s and 3 rolls of a number cube, which of course, like a Yahtzee cube, has 6 sides. So that means the probability of 2 6s plus the probability of 3 6s. Now the probability of rolling a 6 is 1 over 6, and the probability of not rolling a 6 is 5 over 6. So for the probability of 2 6s, we'd have 3 total C2, 1 6 squared, because that's the 6s, and then 5 6 times 5 6. And then the probability of all 6s is 3C3, 1 6 to the third. So now remember, 3C2 is 3 factorial over 3 minus 2 factorial, which is 1 factorial, or 1, over 2 factorial. So here the 2 factorials cancel out. 3 times 2 factorial on the top over 2 factorial on the bottom is 3. So coming back, that's 3 times 1 6 squared, or 1 over 36, times 5 6, which is 15 over 126, plus 1 over 126 is 0.074 or 7.4%. Now remember when we did the normal curve, this is what you'll do a lot in statistics if you take it next year. The height of a sample of 1,000 Americans were normally distributed, that means the bell curve, or like you've heard, grading on the curve, with a mean of 178 and a standard deviation of 7. What percentage of men had heights within the interval 171 to 199? Well, remembering the chart, if the mean is 178, and then we can just add 7s, plus 7 is 185, which is 1 standard, plus 7 again, 192, 2 standards, plus 7 again, 199 or 3 standards, and back to the middle, minus 17 is 171 or minus 1 standard, minus 7 again, 164 minus 2 standards, and minus 7 again, minus 157 minus 3 standards. So what they want us doing is going from minus 1 standard, 171, to 3 standards, 199. So we can see that from 171 to 178 is 34%, and 178 to 185 is 34%. That's showing it being symmetrical about the middle. So that's 2 times 34. And then from 185 to 192 is 13.5. And then just that little bit from 192 to 199 is 2.35. So you can see that all adds up to 83 8.85%. Now remember, this is what we did in 13.5 it was, I believe. Based on the 10 quiz scores, we're given 10 sorted from high to low this time. So 3 10s, 2 9s, an 8, 2 7s, a 6, and a 4. Giving us 10, and they are sorted. So looking at 10, remember, if it was 10, we had to go halfway between the 5th and the 6th for the median. So looking at part B, the median is halfway between the 5th and the 6th over 2, which is halfway between 9 plus 8 over 2, or 8.5, and that makes sense. So there's 5 above 8.5 and 5 below 8.5, which makes it the middle or median. Now for the mean, we take 3 times 10 plus 2 times 9 plus 8 plus 2 times 7 plus 6 plus 4, which is 80 over 10, because there's 10 numbers, equals 8 for a mean. So that's the two things we need there. Now here, remember, we're going to get a standard deviation by taking the difference between each number in the list, subtracting it from the mean, which we just got above, which is 8, and then squaring that difference and adding up all the squares. So for the 10s, 8 minus 10 is negative 2, so that works for the first three. Then 9 minus 8, okay. 9 minus 8 is 1, so, and then 8 minus 8 is 0. 7 minus 8 is negative 1, and 6 minus 8 is negative 2, and 4 minus 8 is negative 4. But since when you square it doesn't matter those signs were wrong. So we're going to square all the minus 2's and get 4, square the minus 1's and get 1, square the 1's and get 1, square the 2 and get 4, square the 4 and get 16. And that all adds up to 16 plus 2 is 18, plus 2 is 20, plus, well, it adds up to 36 when you do it on your calculator. So that will be 36. So then 36 over 10, that's the sigma squared is the variance, is 36 over 10, or 3.6, and the standard deviation, the sigma, is square root of 3.6, or 1.9. Now we're going to omit 20, and now we come into the last stuff, the chapter 14 stuff. So this is the most recent. So write the standard form of the conic section and identify the foci points, like loci, from Avengers. So we know it's opening up to the left and right, so that means x squared is first, over b squared, or a squared, doesn't really matter, minus y squared over a squared equals 1. It doesn't matter here for what we're doing. So what we see in the graph which is given to us is the box is plus or minus 2 for the vertices, so they would be negative plus or minus 2 comma 0, and the up and down would be up and down 3, so the box is 2 by 3, and therefore the c squared for the hyperbola, remember, is outside the vertices, which are at plus or minus 2, 0. So this is c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared, is 4 plus 19, 9 equals 13. So the foci are indicated there as inside or to the left of negative 2, 0, and to the right of 2, 0. And we can see that the hyperbola, which opens on x, is given by x squared over 4, the plus or minus 2 for the box, minus y squared over 9, the plus or minus 3 on the box. Now here on 22, we're given to start 25x minus 2 squared plus 9 y minus 2 squared equals 25. So that tells us right off that the center is 2, 2, and that we're going to divide everything by 225 to get it equal to 1. So when we do that, 25 over 225, math enters to 1 over 9. So we have x minus 2 squared over 9. And 9 over 225, math enters to 1 over 25. So we have y minus 2 squared over 25 equals 1. And it's a sum, so it's an ellipse. So now c squared for the ellipse, remember for the hyperbola it was a squared plus b squared. Now for the ellipse, it's a squared minus b squared. So this is the big one, 25, which is a squared minus 9, b squared is 16, so that makes c equals 4. But now c is less than the vertex, so the vertex and the foci are on the y-axis because y minus 2 squared is over 25, the bigger of the two denominators. So the vertices are 2, 2 plus or minus 5, which is 2, negative 3, and 2, 7. And the foci are 2, 2 plus or minus 4, which I've labeled as 2, 6, and 2, negative 2. Okay? With 2, 2 being the center. Okay, so that's my ellipse. Now for 23, it says, write the standard form of a circle. Well, this is an easy one, with center negative 2, 4 passing through 6, 10. So all we have to do is find the radius, and we'll take, instead of square rooting it, because we need it's easier with squares. So r squared, the radius squared, is, look, negative 2 minus 6, the x1 minus x2 squared. So that's negative 2 minus 6, or negative 8 squared, which is 64, plus the y for the center minus the y for the point. 4 minus 10 squared, a negative 6 quantity squared, is 36. So we have, for the radius, 64 plus 36 is 100. The radius is therefore 10. But in the equation, we use the 100. So we have x plus 2, because the center was minus 2, and y minus 4, because the center was minus 4. So x plus 2 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 100. And now on 24, it says to identify the vertex, focus, and directrix of 2y squared plus x plus 24y plus 68. Now remember, for a parabola, only one of the x and y are squared. So we have a 2y squared and 24y, so that's going to be the squared part, but we always set it equal to the 1 power part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave x where it is and move everything else over to the left, to the right side. So x equals minus 2y squared minus 24y plus blank y minus 68. And now we're going to see, we're going to have to factor out a negative 2 to count for the negative 2y squared. So negative 2 parentheses y squared. Now to get minus 24 with a negative 2 outside the parentheses, I need a negative 2 plus 12y. And then my blank y is 12 over 2 squared, which is 6 squared, or 36. Now that's really minus 2 times 6, but since I'm not putting it over on the other side of the equal, I have to balance it out with a plus 2 times 36, which is my blank y. So now, having completed the square, we have x is negative 2, y plus 6 squared plus 60 minus 68 plus 72 is plus 4. Now remember, the p, which goes in front of the y term squared, is 1 over 4a, or I mean a is 1 over 4p, and we have p is equal, or a is equal to 1 over 4 times negative 2. A is the, p is what I'm looking for. So p is 1 over 4 times negative 2, the a being the negative 2 in front of the y plus 6 squared. So that's how we get negative 1/8. And what that does is allow us to get our focus points. So we knew our vertex is at x equals 4, y is negative 6, and the p is negative 1/8, so that's going for the focus, so that's opening to the left, and that's 3, 4 minus 1/8 for the x, so that's 3 and 7/8, comma minus 6, and the directrix is plus 1/8, or behind the vertex, so that's x equals vertical line 4 plus 1/8, or 4 1/8. And just one last one to do, and we are well done. So here we have solve a circle, x squared plus y squared equals 4, which is clearly a circle with center 0, 0 and radius 2, in conjunction with y squared minus 3x equals 0, or just y squared equals 3x. So now we can plug the 3x in place of y squared in the circle equation, which will allow us to get a single answer for x. So x squared plus 3x equals 4, or subtracting 4 to factor, we have x squared plus 3x minus 4 equals 0, or x plus 4x minus 1 equals 0, giving us an x of negative 4 and an x of 1. Now plugging back into the y squared equals 3x equation, we'll try to find y. So y squared is given as 3 times our first solution, negative 4. So y squared equals negative 12, but when we go to square root it, we see that we can't, because the square root of negative 12 is not real, so we have to throw that x equals negative 4 out as an intersection point. But when we use x equals 1, we get y squared equals 3 times 1, or 3, so y equals plus or minus square root of 3, and our solution then is 1, because that's our x, and plus or minus square root of 3, square root of 3 for y, and we are so done. This is so awesome. God bless you all. You've been an awesome class. I love you all guys deeply.